Well, you may have heard of ChatGPT by now. It's taken the internet by storm, but what is it? So it's an artificial intelligence tool. Basically, you can ask it any question and it will answer it, sort of like Siri on your smartphone, but it seems to take it to a whole new level. All you do is type in the text, get the information. It can also help do things like write an email or even book a flight. And while it certainly sounds cool and futuristic, there are concerns that students will use it to cheat in school, things like that. So joining us this morning, Professor Rao, an artificial intelligence expert from ASU. So good morning. Good to talk to you this morning, Professor.
Good morning, Scott.
I find this so fascinating. A friend of mine has this app, and he came over to my house the other night, and he said, I'm going to show you how this will write a real estate listing for your house. So we put in a few keywords and parameters. I was blown away by what it did. I mean, so I can see how somebody would use this to write an essay and cheat, right?
Yeah, and it actually does lots and lots of things, real estate things. And actually the other day I made it write a Taylor Swift song with cards and everything. And, it is able to produce lots and lots of text as well as other kinds of, poems and songs and so on. And yes, indeed, it actually changes the way we look at writing quite a bit.
So what do you do as a professor? How do you know what your students, if they're using it or not, in a wrong way?
We will never really be able to tell. Honestly, I mean, I tell my students, when I teach that integrity is knowing that you can cheat and choosing not to. And, the ability to cheat, for example, can increase with these sorts of tools like ChatGPT. And while there are some rudimentary tools for telling whether some text has been produced by ChatGPT as against by humans, they are not foolproof at all. And eventually people would be able to use these kinds of tools. But there are ways around of actually including this in education. For example, some people are telling students that you can use ChatGPT, but you have to make sure that what it says is actually true. It turns out one of the things that you didn't mention earlier is while ChatGPT can complete any possible prompt that you give it to it, it's completely affactual. It has no idea of truth or falsity.
Okay.
It just looks for the form of the text. And so if the student were to just ask, ChatGPT to write an answer to a question which has actually factual answer, it could be riddled with errors. For example, I asked it to write a bio for me. It made up a whole bunch of things, such as, a different school I went to, a different person who was my advisor, and so on. And it all looks like good English. But if you are actually trying to check for factuality, that's a whole different bet. And so some teachers are asking students, right, you can use ChatGPT, but make sure that you are responsible for facts in it. So that's like correcting ChatGPT. That's a very interesting way of learning.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What are some of the good things you can use this for, where it will be factual?
So in general, I think anything where form is more important than content, for example, an essay, a vision statement, a statement of purpose, all these things, actually, ChatGPT is extremely good at churning out very nice sounding English. And then as long as you are in the loop, you are actually using the text that it produces to make sure that it actually represents your views. We are completely fine. So imagine we were doing arithmetic with calculators. Now we have a text calculator with ChatGPT sorts of tools. And as long as you are in the loop and you are making sure that what it is saying is something that is close to what you want it to say, it's completely fine. Otherwise, there is no guarantee ever that ChatGPT is actually factual, because all it is doing is trying to complete the prompt with most likely words that might happen after the prompt, except it does it in the context of some last 3,000 words. Okay. So it could be particularly coherent.
Okay, well, it looks like this is our future, so get used to it, right? Professor, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, enjoy your coffee there.